glory. It is in the precious and powerful name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Amen.
We'll look down the approval of the minutes, May the 11th, 2021, and May the 18th. We need approval of the minutes.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Moving right down to agenda, we need to amend the agenda. We're gonna move item number 5 up to number 3, and we're gonna add item number 1. So I need a motion and a second to amend the agenda.
I move we amend the agenda as recommended.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Moving now down to personnel report. Dr. Coker.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks. We have, our personnel director has been really busy this past month, and we have several new positions that I'd like to announce today, and we'll recognize each one of them individually as I announce them. Before we do that, do we need to, let's do approve revised agenda first.
Okay. Motion and a second for approved revised agenda.
I so move.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Now we'll move on to our recognition. So we have our principal at Ouachita Junior High, Mr. Darren Wheeler. Think you stand up? Our new principal at Renewal Elementary School, Miss Whitney Futch. We have a new assistant principal at West Ridge Middle School, Mr. Duke Johnson. Central Elementary assistant principal, Miss Rebecca Brown. Robinson Elementary assistant principal, Mr. Vernell Reiser. And we also have Swayze Elementary curriculum coordinator, Miss Natasha Jones. Several of these placements were really easy because they have been serving for the past year in an interim position, and very pleased and proud to be able to bring you on board in these full-time positions now. So congratulations to each one of you. With that, we do have a couple of positions that, board, I'm asking you to open. The first one is going to be the Woodlawn Middle School principal position, and we also need to open the Woodlawn Middle School assistant principal position. So those would be the two that I would seek your permission to open.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to open these two positions.
I move we open those two positions as specified.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the board? All in favor, yes?
Yes. Yes.
All opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks.
Moving right down to business, item number 1, special recognitions, Ms. Eileen Smead.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks. We are very excited today to recognize some students and some staff. So for our first recognition, I know it says number 1 up there is Bo, but we're going to intermingle a little bit. We'd like to call up your Sterlington High School State Championship baseball team.
Hey.
Everybody, come on. So this is Coach Sims, I'm assuming, and Coach Dearman, great. Principal is here as well. Come on up, Principal Thompson. These are juniors and seniors from the baseball team. It's my understanding they are the state champions, and this is their 3rd state championship, correct? Well, we are very proud of you, and I'm going to take a great big picture of all of you. We are having some certificates made from the board to get to you as well. So we're glad to be able to bring you before our community and recognize you.
And I think Coach Sims has brought the juniors and seniors. Actually, seniors, these are seniors that just graduated. Congratulations to y'all.
Thank you for
We're
coming
no
back
longer
to
being
see
in
us.
Ouachita Parish schools. But we are glad to have you here.
Board members, would y'all like to stand up behind them for the picture? I think that would be great.
Come down here by Coach Sam.
How about all?
want to say something? Coach?
Well, yeah, on behalf of the juniors and seniors on October. Hopefully an annual event again, so this is the third one, so, it's a little tough for much, thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank y'all. If you come into my office, you'll see this is the third one that I have displayed on my shelves in there. So congratulations to each of you.
Congratulations, we're very proud of you.
Brett, go ahead. Right, y'all.
Thank y'all, Coach.
Right?
All right, we have a super special recognition. Dr. Custer, you can come on back.
Put him on a throne right now.
I'm gonna go ahead and call up Mr. Bo Bradley to come on up so we can brag on him. So he's receiving a certificate of excellence from the board and a certificate from the State Department of Education as well. So I'll tell you about him. Bo is a 4.0 student. He's a member of the 4-H Club, the 100-point club for accelerated reader. He was Claiborne Elementary Student of Distinction and Student of the Year. Bo enjoys playing baseball, and he still play for Twin Cities? Travel team. He's very active in his church. He was even asked by his pastor to teach a lesson on the church live broadcast. In his spare time, he likes to cook, hunt, play sports, read the Bible, and tell people about Jesus. He was recognized as Ouachita Parish Elementary Student of the Year, and he continued on to receive the state recognition as Louisiana Elementary School Student of the Year finalist. Congratulations.
Can we get families to come up also?
Come on up,
Behind great kids like this are great families, so.
and also his principal and assistant.
Yes.
Here as
Kevin,
well.
y'all come up here.
And his teacher, awesome.
Come on.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations.
Well, we're not going to get behind the podium for the next one. Okay, our final recognition today, we saved a good one for last as well, is Aaron Taylor, Ouachita Parish High School. Come on up, Aaron. Aaron has been named the 2021 Louisiana History Day Teacher of the Year and was also nominated for the 2021 Patricia Baring Teacher of the Year Award. So she is getting a certificate, and we have a short video to play for you. Your phone? I don't know why.
Fourth grader up.
Welcome to the National World War II Museum. My name is Adam Foreman. I'm the Student Program Specialist and the State Coordinator for Louisiana History Day. Under normal circumstances, we'd be here, gathered together in the U.S. Freedom Pavilion, the Boeing Center, in order to celebrate the Louisiana History Day Awards ceremony. Even though we were virtual, we've still found ways to highlight all of the great projects students from across the state have completed. The virtual program would not have been possible without the diligent work of our volunteer judges, the teachers who helped guide students through their research, our regional partners, and of course, all of our donors who made a virtual Louisiana History Day a reality. Most importantly, I want to congratulate you, the students, who completed such excellent projects this year. History Day is a remarkable opportunity for you to explore the importance of history and see how relevant the past is today. This has been a difficult year for you all, but you should be proud of the work that you've accomplished. Finally, I want to congratulate Miss Erin Taylor of Ouachita Parish High School, who's our 2021 Louisiana History Day Teacher of the Year. Miss Taylor has used History Day in the classroom for the last 4 years and has successfully guided students to the national competition. She's an advocate for project-based learning within the Ouachita Parish school system, and during her last trip to nationals, Erin and her student were able to meet with the Louisiana congressional delegation. It's my privilege to congratulate Miss Erin Taylor as the 2021 Louisiana History Day Teacher of the Year. And also congratulations to you, all of our students who are advancing to the national competition in June.
One of Erin's students is one of those students who are advancing to national competition in June. So we wish her the best. And also the Patricia Bearing Award will be announced in June, and we wish you the best for that as well. Can I get a picture with Mr. Ide and Mr. Long? Yep. You guys, come on up.
I guess we'll let them. One coming in and one going out.
I know who's the happy one going out.
Go Lions, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks. That concludes my recognitions for today.
Okay, thank you, Eileen. Moving down to item number 2, Finance Committee report, Mr. Todd Geis.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks. Board, in your email and I think in your folder, you have a copy of the Finance Committee report from our meeting that was held on May the 18th. You have the minutes from that meeting. Just going to recap very quickly a couple of those things and bring to your attention. Several of these you will be asked or will be considering later today. We did hear a report from Taylor & Sons concerning gap insurance, a supplemental plan. It was just an initial report. We didn't take any action. But as far as the insurance renewal, we had a lot of discussion regarding the insurance renewal, and you will be considering this in just a few minutes with Ms. Meekus and Mr. Wood. But the committee did vote unanimously to recommend option 1 to the board today after analysis of option 2 would be completed for comparison. So, and like I said, Ms. Meekus is going to have more about that in just a second. We did hear the budget revision from Ms. Meekus that you will also be hearing today. The committee voted unanimously to recommend the budget revision that Ms. Meekus will be presenting. The other item of discussion came about with item number 8, considering adding a technology fee to our yearly student fees district-wide. Mr. Miller brought this as a recommendation to the Finance Committee, and we did approve that unanimously to recommend to the board the addition of a $5 technology fee for the 21-22 school year. This would replace any type of requirement for parents to buy insurance on the devices that their children check out from us through the course of the year. This would not cover any intentional or neglect that would create damages to the devices. So when you vote for the approval of the minutes today, we are asking for that to be included as an affirmation from the board that Mr. Miller can assess that $5 technology fee. And then the last item there on the next page was just an update on school fee payments that we've been doing electronically. And the board and the committee took no action. So also included in your handout a copy of the scheduled finance committee meeting dates for the 21-22 school year, just in case you ever want to join us. If you're not on that committee, you're certainly always welcome. So I entertain any questions you have, Mr. Hicks, but that is the report from the finance committee.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the finance committee report. Mr. Todd Geis?
I so move that we approve the finance committee report of Mr. Guy.
A second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the audience? From the board? All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Opposed, no? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks.
Okay, Mr. Geis. Moving down to item number 5, we made a motion to come and move it up to item number 3. So I need to consider insurance program risk renewal. Ms. Kevin Woods, author, and Mr. Jay Gallagher, Regina Mikas.
Thank you, Mr. President, Dr. Coker, the board. I think everybody's got a packet in front of them, and we've obviously not had a great year in the insurance world when it comes to property insurance, hurricanes, snowpocalypses, things like that. So being that the property piece is by far the largest piece of the insurance for Ouachita Parish School Board, Dr. Coker, Regina, and myself, we've had some conversations and we've got some options. And we presented those to the Finance Committee here a couple, 2 or 3 weeks ago. We did make one small change, and I talked to Regina about this because FM, who's the current carrier, came back and they did offer us a little bit different option. And as you'll see it's the one that looks like this. If you're looking forward in the packet. Essentially, what I did was I plugged it in as option 1A. And what FM did was instead of having a $250,000 or $200,000 all other peril deductible, they gave us an option for a $500,000 all other peril, and it dropped the premium by about $35,000. And you can see the premium there in yellow going across. So our current program has a 5% wind hail deductible with a minimum $250,000 per location, with a $200,000 all other peril. So fire, lightning, water damage, things like that. That's going to be the all other peril piece of that. Also part of your package is this presentation material essentially talking about, and Mr. Manley, you'll definitely find this interesting, where it talks about what's going on in the marketplace itself. And first, it kicks off with property and what the standard increases are that we're seeing across the board. And this is essentially all industries, but anytime you've got a lot of rooftops in one centralized location, it becomes magnified, if you will. So, but this goes into every line of coverage that you could potentially think about. Workers' comp, which we do have a workers' comp renewal as well. Casualty piece, which is the general liability. And then it goes into, some of the other things. But this is a really neat, and we do this quarterly. So this is something that we do, and we benchmark what the carriers are doing all over the place. And obviously, with Gallagher being really big in municipalities, public entities, school boards, and things like that, we've got a really good feel for what's going on in this space. I had a long conversation with the Zurich underwriter yesterday and again this morning, which is the option 2. They would be the lead carrier in that option, as well as option 3, 4, and 5. And what I got out of that conversation is they're scared to death about what's going to happen this year. Last year was bad enough. They're scared of what's going to happen this year with additional hurricanes. NOAA's not helping that situation with their predictions. This is going to be one of the more active hurricane seasons, and let's just hope it doesn't make it this far. So with that, any questions in regards to the options that we have spelled out?
I would say after looking at the options and when the finance committee met, one of the questions that they had, they'd asked me to go back and look at a 10-year history, which you provided. So I went back and looked at that, and there's really not a lot of change from when we had looked at that at this time last year. We really only had one substantial wind and hail claim over the past 10 years, which was the tornado at West Monroe High School. I looked at the past 2 years since we've been on the 5% wind and hail and kind of what that cost to us as a district is. Because we have had several significant weather events in the past 2 years since we've been on the 5% wind and hail deductible. We had a tornado in the spring of 2020, and then we had an ice storm in the winter of 2021, and Hurricane Laura, which hit us pretty good in the fall of 2020. So on average, considering what our losses were, what FEMA covered for the tornado, which was not subject to FEMA reimbursement, cost us about roughly $200,000. I think it was actually a little bit less than that. For Hurricane Laura, which was eligible for reimbursement under FEMA, it's about $100,000. And then what we're projecting for the ice storm, which we're still pending FEMA categorizing it as a Bobby Jones category E. Thank you. I was E, G, category E. We're anticipating that would cost us after reimbursement about $150,000. If FEMA does not categorize it as category E, it could cost us about $450,000. So we're just kind of in limbo waiting on FEMA for those costs at this time. But if we look at the options that we have, and option 1A is definitely on the table if you all want to consider it. I'm kind of weighing out the $35,000 in savings really doesn't outweigh the additional risk of $300,000 that the school board would, or $250,000 that the school board would be taking on. Or I was right, $300,000 the school board would be taking on between the $200,000 all perils that we currently have and the $500,000 that we would be going to. So that's only a $36,000 savings. Really doesn't offset that risk. But if we go with option 1, what it all comes down to, if we go with option 2, I should mark this before I start talking. Yes, if we go with option 2, we go to a $25,000 deductible across the board. We know we're guaranteed that's going to cost us an additional $663,000. If we go with option 1, we're taking a risk that it would be more cost outside of our premium with the higher deductible, but based on our 10-year history, it really doesn't warrant paying that higher premium to decrease our risk.
So you're recommending option 1?
I'm recommending option 1.
And I think we mentioned it in the finance committee, just for the benefit of everyone, the Boley fire would not have been a wind hail. It was not a wind hail event. So it would fall under the all other perils because it was a lightning and then a fire. So we're talking about essentially hail, tornadoes, that sort of thing. Obviously a lot of rooftops, but 5% wind hail is that's a big hit. And that's one of the things we wanted to look at was, does it offset if we go with a lower deductible, $25,000 or a $200,000 deductible? Is it going to offset those other things that are happening during the years? Historically, the answer is no. Not to pay that additional premium to get that lower deductible. So essentially, that's what we're looking at.
Basically, what you're saying is we'll have roughly $686,000 difference between option 2 and option 1 that could be spent on deductibles.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
And the loss history doesn't justify.
Right, then just right.
Yes, sir.
And I feel like, as long as the market is like it is now, we'll explore these options every year.
Right.
Mr. Woods is always gonna do the work to bring us all the options he can, and we'll just have to decide each year, is it worth the risk?
And I think it's worth mentioning too, Dr. Coker, FM has been a partner for Ouachita Parish School Board for a long time. The Boley claim was as good, if not better, than any claim I've ever been experienced with, and they handled it, I think, really nicely. They went above and beyond. So they like this relationship. Obviously, they're charging a pretty large premium, but you got to remember they took a really large hit on that claim, and so they're still, very keen on maintaining this relationship. Granted, their rate increases are going to be just like everybody else's. They're going to look at that, but it's even by looking at this, it's pretty obvious that they're still below market when it comes to premium dollars themselves. Granted, they have a crazy high deductible, but their premiums, nobody else would even touch that premium. Not even if you just, continue out and raise your deductibles, there's nobody that's going to get close to that. So FM is still the powerhouse when it comes to property insurance in the state of Louisiana, even though this is probably the toughest state to write property insurance.
What was the premium increase over last year with FM?
14.9% what it ended up being.
That's a lot better than it was the year before.
And the year before that.
Yeah. What was it the year before, Kevin?
That's a lot.
It's 100%, wasn't it?
At least.
Yeah.
And I think,
And we even had a big $9 million loss.
Yeah.
So they really treated us nice on this premium increase this year, didn't they?
It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it initially it was worse. So this is after negotiations and a lot of conversations, getting it down.
What was the premium last year?
It's on the first column. You'll see there in the yellow, 857.
Gotcha. Thank you. I see it.
and I think even though, and I mentioned this to the finance committee, and I'm certainly not in the insurance business, but even though we have seen the type of increases that we've seen over the past 3 years from FM Global, their rates are still coming in better than competitors. So they're still offering us a below market rate.
And I think the market's shrinking, as Kevin will know, big time with the amount of losses that we're having countrywide. So FM Global, as long as they're willing to assume the risk and handle the claims like they have been, I would highly recommend we stay with them. As long as they keep their rate increases within a reasonable period.
Right. That's exactly right. And that's why I mentioned that. I mean, they enjoy this relationship. The underwriter, Will Grace, is from Louisiana, even though he's out of Texas office. He's been to the meetings before. He's sat eye to eye with a lot of these folks here. And so, I mean, he's got a vested interest as well. He wants to maintain this relationship as long as he can.
Yeah. We have a motion and a second to consider the option number 1 for Gallagher Insurance.
I move we consider renewing the insurance property coverage of the Ouachita Parish School Board with option number 1 with FM Global as recommended.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion from the audience? From the board? All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no? Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Moving down to item number 4, consider annual operating budget revision number 1 for the fiscal period year 27/01/2020 and 6/30/2021. Ms. Mikas? Yeah.
We had the public hearing on the annual operating budget revision number 1 for the 2020-2021 year, just prior to this meeting at 11 o'clock. So I'm not gonna take up the 45 minutes Mr. Geis allotted me to talk about the budget. What we're looking at for the current year, combined operating budget, all of our funds total. In the general fund, we're looking at $185,000 loss, $185,657 net change in fund balance for all of the general fund funds combined. And that is primarily, as you all know, we had lost, sorry, that's on page 25. As you all know, we lost 540 students this past year. We anticipated losing about 250 of those students. So through the rest of the year, we were able to make up the difference, not only in being very conservative with our expenditures, but also an increase in local revenue, primarily ad valorem taxes. It was a reevaluation year for our property taxes. Also, an increase in our indirect cost rate from all of the pandemic relief grants that we were able to begin using this past year. So we were able to meet that deficit in the current year to end with $185,000 net change in fund balance. Our special revenue funds, which includes not only our sales tax funds, being our M&O for the district, our 1968, our 1995, also our grant funds, be it Title I, special education, state and local grants, all of those are in the second column. We're looking at ending fund balance for the year of $60,988,000, primarily going to be in the local funds, like our sales tax funds, where we collect those for future projects, whether it be the M&O for instructional, maintenance, operations, or in the 1968 and 1995 sales tax, which are our salary supplements, and they're all collected and paid out respectively in June and November. Then we have our debt service funds. Our debt service funds are revised in the current year based on the refunding of two outstanding bonds, one on the east side and one on the west side this past fall, along with the issuance of new debt on the east side. So those debt service funds are revised to follow along with the payments due as approved by the voters and the board. So that is 45 minutes in a nutshell. So does anyone have any questions that we may not have covered during the public hearing?
We need to get a motion in a second for the financial report of April 30th, 2021, and also item number 4, that the annual operating budget. We'll do both of them together, so I need a motion and a second.
So move.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any question from the audience? From the board? All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Meekins. Moving down to item number 6, adoption of official adjournment. Mr. Bobby Jones.
Board members, you should have in your packet the quotations that I received back for the official journal, which needs to be approved today or adopted, however the correct wording is. So I'm here to answer any questions that you may have, but as I have stated in years past, I have no recommendation for the board as to which the newspapers that the board wishes to choose. So,
Okay.
I have a question. I have a question.
Yeah, well, I need a motion and a second to accept the journal. Do you, anybody have a motion or a second?
I would move, because, well, I would like to give my reason for having looked at all 3 of those who submitted bids. I know that we don't have to go with the lowest bid.
that is correct.
But since Ouachita Parish School Board is a very money conscious board, I looked at all 3 And I noticed that one theater for every category is lower in terms of cost to the board than any of the others. And in some cases, let's say, for board minutes, they're about $100 less, or $79.50 less than anyone else. Some cases, $12.75, $15.75 lower than the lowest. And so for that reason, and I'm talking about the free press. And so for that reason, I would move that we select the free press as our official journal for the Ouachita Parish School Board for the year 2021, 2022. For those reasons.
So we got a motion?
Yes.
Okay, do we have a second?
Save some money.
Motion dies last second. Do we have a motion and a second for any other papers?
I'll move that we approve the Ouachita Citizen as the official journal for Ouachita Parish School Board.
Okay,
Second.
we got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the audience? From the board? Need a roll call. Okay, all in favor, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no? No. Motion carries.
No.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Hicks.
Ms.
Thank you,
Jones.
board.
Thank you.
Did you get one no vote? Peggy on the minute? Yeah,
Yeah.
Reverend McCoy voted no.
Okay, moving down to item number 7, request permission to approve the RFP 38-21 inactive flat panels. Mr. Jones?
Yes, Mr. Hicks. I have unfortunately had to ask way too many times this school year for approvals to go ahead and get these bids done. But unfortunately, this item and the next item are going to fall in an area between the two board meetings, and I don't really have time to wait until the 13th meeting to approve these. On the flat panels, this bid was actually supposed to have already been open, but I had to write an addendum, which pushed it back to next week. I did want to point out on any RFPs, even though this is a large amount, we do have a group that actually makes a collective decision. So I don't make these decisions by myself on this item nor the next one. It will be a group of at least 5 people, consisting of directors within our office here. So what I'm asking right now is for the board to allow me to go ahead and approve the vendor who's going to get the most points for the flat panels, and then bring that back for you all on the 13th.
Okay. Yeah, motion and a second.
I move we grant this permission to Mr. Jones.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the audience? From the board?
And Bobby, just for clarification purposes, my understanding is we're gonna replace all the defective panels first by the start of next school year,
That is
or
the
this
plan.
school year, and then we'll have all of them replaced by the end of this year. Is that
That is
correct?
correct, yes.
Okay, all in favor, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks. Thank you, board.
All right. Moving down to item number 8, permission to approve the RFP 41-21 educational kits. Ms. Jones?
Yes, sir, Mr. Hicks, board members, same situation as item 7 in this case. We will also have a group that will meet to approve and have the points done correctly. So again, I would ask for permission to go ahead and approve this RFP, and then bring those documents back to you on the 13th.
We have a motion and a second to approve of the educational kits. Mr. Jones?
So move.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the audience? From the board?
Bobby, what is an educational kit, just from my own?
Mr. Manley, this is a
Just I'm gonna
title.
be voting on it.
This is a Title I kit, and it basically it's just a collection of different tools for the students to have books, a little bag to carry them in, just different things for the students, and these will be at the Title I students.
For Title I school.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all in favor, yes?
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks.
Thank you, Ms.
board.
Jones. Number 9, item of change order for a 6-inch, is that a 6-inch water line for Woodlawn Middle School building, Mr. Slusher?
Yes, sir, Mr. Hicks, board members, you should have a copy of the change order in front of you. This is for a 6-inch water line that'll actually run from, I guess it'd be the north side of Highway 134 to the new band and choir building. The total, they have to bore under 134, but the total is $19,131. Asking permission to grant that change order request to road construction.
We have a motion and a second to accept this change order.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any discussion from the audience? From the board?
Ken, is this the line that goes back so that the fire
Goes back
system-
to the new band and choir.
so that'll meet so the fire system will meet the code?
Right.
Is that right? Right.
And that building will be sprinkled, and we have to have that 6-inch water line to sprinkle.
Pressure that's there now does not meet the code, right?
No.
This is the line that we thought was there prior to the construction project. As they've started trying to identify it and find it, they can't find it. So we certainly don't need this project held up any longer than what it is right now. And I think Kenneth will address where we are with that in just a minute.
Okay. Any more discussion? All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Moving down to item number 10, construction renovation project report. Mr. Ken Slusher?
Yes, sir. You should have a project status report in front of you from TBA on the Boley Elementary School. We had a meeting out there this morning at 9 o'clock. They've got all the slabs poured except for the one at the admin area. And he says he's gonna try to pour that this week. They're way behind on the roof panels or roof in the school. I think they had 2 classrooms that wasn't roofed on the west side of wing A. So they're moving real slow on getting a roof on, and that's holding up, of course, a lot of the other trades to get in. But same as every construction job, the rain is keeping them out, and the site's a bloody mess, but they're still out there working on it. So, and they still give us a completion date of December the 17th, I think it was, to be complete, which will give us time to move in during Christmas for the next school year, should they meet that deadline. Any questions on bowling?
Ken, what's that change order, $135,000 all about?
I'm sorry?
Change order on this project sheet of $135,000, what would that involve? On the project status report?
We had, that was bad dirt
I remember that now.
that y'all approved way back.
I remember now. Mr. Red Sims used to say there's no such thing as bad dirt.
The last change order y'all approved, though, it wasn't for bad dirt. Now, they might find some when they bore that line, but so far, no bad dirt on it.
And the other line.
There's no other questions. We met, we've actually met twice at Woodlawn. From the time we met in April till we met in May, it looked like the project had been abandoned. We met with them again last week, and they're, of course, they, like everybody else, it's a muddy mess out there, but they're blaming the rain on everything. But since our meeting, they have made a lot of progress. They've got the steel up. They were planning on pouring the slabs or poured on the sidewalks Saturday, and of course, we got that rain. Then they were gonna pour this morning. We got that rain last night. Now they're planning on pouring Thursday morning, I believe. But the buildings, the actual band and choir room is complete. They put the first coat of wax down on the floors. They still have a lot of molding to do. And he's trying to give the guy that installed the floors time to fix the molding. If he doesn't, he's hired another contractor to come in and do it. But we're planning on moving in from the existing band and choir room into the new building Thursday, starting Thursday. And then they'll move in, to the existing band and choir and tear that all out and put the home ec building in there. But it's been a slow, very slow progress made on that building, and I think Dr. Coker got their attention at our last meeting and told them wouldn't nobody be paid, until they made some significant progress, and that kind of got their attention, I believe. The other thing is the Ouachita roof that the company replacing at their cost. They've done approximately 1,000 squares so far on the roof, and they like about 700 squares finishing the roof at Ouachita High School. The roofs for Riser and West Ouachita High School are out for bid now. And a real important thing coming up, we open the bids on the new Sterlington Middle School on June the 22nd at 2 p.m.
June the 22nd.
And that's all I have, Mr. Hicks. Unless y'all have some questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them.
Any more questions?
Nothing's been done on the inside of the family science room.
No,
we have to wait
inside
until
the existing building, nothing's been done yet. We have to move completely out before they move in and demo, starting the demo process.
And we were assured that that would be ready by mid-July, that, because we were even gonna move stuff out of it so they could get a crew in, and I don't think he had a crew to get in. So that was the reason that we, instead of moving things twice.
But all the casework and everything's on site. Once they demo that building, for them to go back, and it shouldn't take long. That's all inside again. Rain shouldn't affect them in any way on doing that part of it.
Can we
And
set
the roof at Ouachita is gonna be completed by the start of this coming school?
Oh, yeah. It's the same thing there. The wind and the rain, keeping them off the building, and they can't tear off more than they can replace at a time.
Now, this re-roof job is being handled by the contractor at the expense of the contractor.
It's a local contractor, but it's being paid for by the manufacturer. No
The
cost.
warranty will be the same on this replaced roof as it was on the original roof, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Right.
Any more questions for Ken?
Let me just add something to that. We do have some smaller projects that's going on throughout the course of the summer that, we're either using M&O monies for or something. And these are more facelift type projects, like redoing some restrooms at at Riser Elementary. We're looking at possibility of taking a wall down at Linville for the library to make that a larger space. I know Stephen has been working at Richwood High School on the tentative plans, not tentative anymore, but the rain is keeping us from being able to put our sidewalks down. You want to do just an update on where we are with Richwood High on the softball, baseball? Okay, all right, thanks.
I said, oh, July, it was raining.
And it could be. So those are some of the things that we have. We are looking at Pinecrest, at the awning on the outside, and the possibility of trying to, and I don't know where we are on the bleachers, but trying to put in some bleachers that would give us a little bit more seating in that, that space too. I know Kenneth is newer.
Better seating.
Yeah.
Yeah, those wooden bleachers in there now, I think came with the school.
The space just limits you
Yeah, it
to
does.
what you can do, so it's kind of a catch-22. You put something new in there and get the same amount of seating, but
I didn't know if we would be able to add an extra row or not, because those are
Be
deep.
up to the fire marshal.
Yeah.
You know.
That's what we need to check to see.
without cutting the court, which is already
Right.
below regulation.
Right. I know when we put new bleachers in at Ouachita Junior High now, we actually lost about 400 seats, I think, because of the fire marshal.
Well, before decisions are made on any of that, we'll look at and see what the options are.
Right.
I definitely want to see something added, but I don't want to spend a couple
We
hundred thousand
don't
dollars.
need to lose seating there,
add
because they
nothing.
don't really have enough there now, what little bit they have.
Mine probably too.
Any more questions? Thank you, Ken. Moving right down to number 10, evaluation of bids. Mr. Bobby Jones?
Board members, first item we have there is the large cafeteria equipment for the new Bowie School. Talked to Ms. Carrero about this, and the recommendation is that we approve Lafayette Restaurant Supplies, the low bidder that's responsive at $229,900. Came in just a little over budget, but these days and times, it was pretty close based on when we actually put this out. So, and then of course the next item on there, Mr. Hicks, are the wood chips that we got approved from before. Again, this one came in just a little over budget, but we've already ordered the wood chips and they are being delivered. So I'm very happy from the vendor's perspective that they've already started delivering wood chips.
What are you looking at him for?
Because he generally,
I just want to make sure our children are properly protected on the
absolutely,
playground, Bob.
and I appreciate your concern.
From a safety standpoint, we need to make sure those playground areas are real secure and safe.
Yes, sir.
And there's no closures of playgrounds throughout the parish.
That is our goal, Mr. Manley.
What about the bear traps? You gonna have any bear traps out there?
I think we're looking at getting those, aren't we, Bobby, up around Thurston Elementary?
But we're having,
With that recent sighting of the bear come across the campus up there?
I actually saw those photographs. When I saw the small one was at the school, Mama seemed like she was over by the bayou a little bit, so.
We'll let the M&O fund take care of that if we need any.
We have a motion and a second to accept these two bids.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion from the audience? Any more discussion from the board? All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks. Thank you, board.
Okay, and moving down to permission to bid, items 1 through 5, you want to do all these?
We can do all of them at one time, Mr. Hicks.
Okay,
The first two items on there are for Ms. Carrero, some large cafeteria equipment. I don't know what school that is. I've not communicated with her. I'm not exactly sure what small wares are. And then the next three items, copy paper, which we order progressively throughout the year. Oil and grease, we generally put that out to bid in the summer and get ready for upcoming school year. And then I have also one on there for fuel management. I do have an extension on that contract. I have not heard back from the vendor yet, so anticipating that they may not renew it, I'm just gonna go ahead and redo that bid if I have to.
Well, their small wares must be them plastic forks and eating
Styrofoam
utensils that we
plates.
got that break pretty frequently.
we have a motion and a second to accept these permission to bid items 1 through 5.
I move we grant permission to bid these items.
Second.
All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks. Thank you, board. Always a pleasure.
Well,
Looking for a date.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've got it right here. Oh, Lord, what's it? Oh. Yes. Our next board meeting will be July the 13th. Dr. Coker?
12 noon? 12 noon?
Yeah, 12 noon, I'm sorry. Always 12 noon.
Thank you. I'm good.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.